Now we have Mark chapter 10, verse 17 through to 22. As he was setting out on a journey, a man ran up to him and knelt before him and asked him, "Good teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" And Jesus said to him, "Why do you call me good? No one is good except God alone. You know the commandments. Do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not bear false witness, do not defraud, honour your father and mother." And he said, "Teacher, I have kept all these things from my youth up." Looking at him, Jesus felt a love for him and said to him, "One thing you lack. Go and sell all you possess and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come and follow me." But at these words he was saddened, and he went away grieving, for he was one who owned much property. This is a story which is repeated both in Matthew's Gospel and in Luke's Gospel, and Luke calls him a ruler, and Matthew calls him a young man. And he was rich. Clearly he was rich, so we often talk about the rich young ruler, but here in Mark's Gospel it's just a man ran up to Jesus, and it says, and he knelt before him. This is a man who is serious about God, who is serious about knowing, and he asks the key question, "Good teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" This is the most critical question that anybody can ask. What must I do to have eternal life? To live forever with God and have fellowship with him? What must I do? And he comes to Jesus, and he runs up to Jesus, and he kneels down and asks this question. He says, "Good teacher." And Jesus comes back and he says, "Why do you call me good? No one is good except God alone." And there's lots of questions about why Jesus answered in this way. I think perhaps Jesus was just testing him to see what he thought about him. Why do you call me good? There's only one who is good. It's God alone. What are you saying about me? Are you saying that I am God? Which is the start. And Jesus goes on and he says these words. He says, "You know the commandments." And he starts quoting the 10 Commandments. But he doesn't quote them all. He quotes commandment number 6, do not murder. Commandment number 7, do not commit adultery. Number 8, do not steal. Number 9, do not bear false witness or defraud. And number 5, honour your father and mother. And the man says, "Teacher, I have kept all these things from my youth up." Now, in our evangelical traditions, we would say, "Well, of course you've lied. Come on." And but Jesus doesn't. Jesus looks at him, and he sees that there is some truth in what he has said. These commandments, these 5 commandments that he has spoken of, he's saying, "Yeah, I've done my best, and I have kept these 5 commandments." And Jesus looks at him and loves him. He sees that he is serious about God. He has come to Jesus, kneeling before him, earnestly asking, "What must I do that I might have eternal life?" Jesus says, keep the commandments. And then Jesus says, "One thing you lack." And it's interesting. He says, "One thing you lack." His lack is because he's got something. And his lack is that he's got great wealth. And Jesus says to him, "Go sell all you possess and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me." Just like he did to the other disciples. I think what Jesus was saying, Jesus with wisdom, he said, there's these 5 commandments which you've kept. But if you're going to get into heaven through keeping the law, you've got to keep them all. And he loved his wealth more than he loved the Lord, so that when the Lord said, I want you to give away all of your wealth and give it to the poor, he went away sad. This is a serious Christian. A man who is serious about God. And he goes away saddened because he can't give up his wealth. He can't keep the whole of the law. Perhaps he was coveting what he could buy with his wealth. But certainly he didn't love the Lord his God with all of his heart, soul, mind and strength. He had another God, which was his wealth.